Hello and welcome. You're listening to Hurry, the Movie is Starting podcast. Brought to you by the card holders. Have you ever wanted to buy a greeting card and also wanted to get a gift card, but you're like, man, that's so much work. I got to buy a card over here. Then I got to walk all the way over here and get a gift card. Then I got to try and figure out which kind of gift card is going to work for perfect for this person. And then I got to give them the card with the gift card just flopping around, flying all over the place. Oh, that's classic lame-o. Now with the card holder, you can get a card with a built-in spot inside. And don't worry, if you don't like going out in public, 'cause let's be honest, going out in public these days is sometimes frightening. You can do all in one spot at the card holders on the Etsy store. In the link below, you can get a gift card. You can get a greeting card. You can get a spot in your greeting card built in for your gift card, so that when your person gets it, they shake it. They're like, oh, there's nothing in here. Dang, that sucks. They open it up. Boom! Gift card hidden inside. Wow! Brought to you by the card holders. How are y'all doing today? Because if you're asking me, I'm having a great day. I am having a blessed day. I was able to wake up in the morning and get out of bed, and that is a win for me. As you know, we're not promised tomorrow, so just to be able to wake up in the morning and open our eyes and see that we exist another day on this planet, that's always a good thing. Always a good thing, despite the craziness that occurs on this planet. But with that all being said, today seems like a great day to record a podcast, so we're going to be pre-gaming the movie Death of a Unicorn. Yeah! This is coming out of the film studio A24, which has some bangers, and one of my favorite movies of all time, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That's just, if you haven't seen that, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? You need to go watch that and then prepare to just have your mind exploded. You might have to have the hospital on standby for that movie. Anyways, this movie is coming out March 28th and has a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. This movie is classified as dark comedy, monster horror, comedy, fantasy, and thriller. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I didn't know anything about this movie going in. I went to IMDb and was like looking at the upcoming movies and was like, what movie would be like good for me to pregame? What movie would be good for me to watch? And I saw Death of a Unicorn. I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably going to be some kind of like allegory for something else. But no, it looks like it's legitimately about a unicorn, unless the trailer is fooling us to the maximum capacity, which doesn't seem that realistic. But it's A24, so you can expect the unexpected in this one. That being said, let's jump into the plot. Father and daughter duo Elliot and Ridley, aka Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega, hit a unicorn with their car and bring it to the wilderness retreat of a mega wealthy pharmaceutical CEO. This is the directorial debut by Alex Sharfman. He is also the writer of this film. If you look at his history, there's not much there. Not to say that he's not a great director or anything. So we shall see how he does with this movie. He is with Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Richard E. Grant, Anthony Kerrigan, who you might know as Victor Zsasz from Gotham. Téa Leoni's coming back out of the wilderness for this one. Will Poulter, David Pasquesi, and Jessica Hines. That is the cast that rounds out this movie. Let's just jump right into the prediction. So what we know from the trailer, they ran over a unicorn. That much is clear. This movie is going to be about a unicorn or multiple ? They do mention in the trailer there's two of them. So this unicorn might not be dead. There could be a baby. There could be like a whole faction of unicorns. I don't know. Well, all we know that from the trailer is they run over a unicorn. Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega are going to this big meeting with the big pharmaceutical CEO, but Jenna Ortega's character seems a little bit cautious about the CEO. There's even a line she mentions when the unicorn like looks at her in the eye and it's just like overglows with some galaxy theme. She says that I don't think we're supposed to be here. So it just seems like that wilderness retreat is going to be set up for something more magical and unexpected. So as someone who is against the greed and ethical dilemma and lack of trust for Big Pharma, I think I'm going to enjoy her character a lot because she seems to be like not completely on board with them as like without even knowing them, just like from a just like a outside looking in perspective. And I agree with her. I mean, I agree with her. The number one business in this world is medicine. And whether you agree with it or not, personally, I don't agree with it. But I mean, I'm not someone who requires it. I know like many people in this world require medicine, but I also think we've gotten into this point of just, oh, my head hurts, let me pop a pill for that, or oh, my arm hurts, let me pop a pill for that. I think there's a lot more natural remedies. I think sometimes we're in the habit of just like taking these things just to feel more comfortable in this world, and we're not always going to be comfortable. But that's just my little rant about that. I don't want to get into why I don't believe in medicine and whatnot. So what we also know is it seems like the CEO wants to test the sample of the unicorn. They find out it's a cure to cancer, which Will Poulter's character says, oh, that's the big one. That's the big disease that plagues this world. And so it's safe to assume they will see the dollar eyes roll over their eyes like a character from Looney Tunes once they figure out that this unicorn does cure cancer. And it looks like they're like shaving its horn, so maybe that's where the magical powers come from. We even see later in the trailer that its horn is lit up. So I'm going to assume this horn has the magical elements of a unicorn ingrained into it, and when we ingest it, we are cured from cancer. So I'm going to jump right into my prediction. My prediction is Paul Rudd is visiting the CEO to get brownie points or to strike a deal. So he searches for his validation. Jenna Ortega's character is warned that they shouldn't be there, and she's like shares this with her father, but he's already invested. They're already here. They got to finish it. So on this journey, they're going to run into a unicorn, injure it or kill it. I'm pretty sure it's going to still be alive, but maybe just to give birth or something like that. So when they finally get to this retreat, they find out that the unicorn is still alive, and it produces a baby. That's what I'm predicting. It's going to produce a baby. Because later on in this film, we see a bigger one that is more well-equipped for fighting. Like, there's, like, little claws that, like, are sticking out of its leg like a raptor claw. So that's kind of cool. We're going to see some interesting gore in this one. And also, they have horns. So I think my prediction of this movie is going to be that they're going to try to exploit the unicorn's magical abilities by killing it and using its horn to be able to cure cancer. But they're going to be saying, oh, this is for the good of mankind. That's going to be the moral dilemma, I believe. It's going to be like, would you rather save one unicorn or rather save like thousands and millions of people that have cancer? And while, yes, that is a very hard moral dilemma, I feel like the biggest dilemma is they're like, okay, cancer is the number one most advantageous disease in this world in terms of how expensive like the treatment is for it. So if we had this thing that cures cancer, we can charge so much money, and I think that's what it's going to come into. They're going to be wanting to exploit these creatures to be able to just have a fantastic payday and just be the richest people in the world. But obviously Jenna Ortega is going to be against that, and then she's probably going to get Paul Rudd on her side. I also have my gut feeling is telling me that we see in the trailer that Richard like Grant potentially like takes some of the unicorn stuff because he's like, I've never felt more alive. So I'm going to go out with my shot in the dark here and say that because he ingests some of this unicorn, he then transforms into a unicorn down the road. That's just my random thought, but anyways, that's just my prediction on this movie. Let's get into fun facts. Fun facts. This is Téa Leoni's first film role since Tower Heist 14 years ago. She did Fun with Dick and Jane, which was a solid, underrated movie there. When I was wondering like why she hasn't been in films since 14 years, so I was like looking it up, trying to figure out like what's going on. Is everything okay? Yeah, she seems like she's working in TV at the moment, or she was working in TV. She's also like very selective with her roles, usually doing like one role a year. So, I mean, she's just living life and she's just working how she wants to. So I appreciate that. It's just good to see her back on the big screen. Also, my second fun fact, which is the final fun fact, not many for this movie, Alex Sharfman's directorial debut. So we have a new director, so we've seen this with A24 before. They are a very like creative, artistic kind of style of studio, and we've seen it with Talk to Me. That was the directorial debut from the Raka Raka crew, which was very awesome to see because that movie was great. So it's good to see them just going out and giving like people new opportunities here, and we have one here with Death of a Unicorn by Alex Sharfman. Not much fun facts for this one, so we're just going to jump right into the comment section. At Matt Carey Does Music Not the Vape 24. So what he's referring to, if you haven't seen the trailer, there's a scene where Jenna Ortega takes a hit from a vape and then blows out like as an exhale, and it just creates the logo A24. Just to give you a backstory on that, at NZAD5254 said, this unironically might be the greatest anti-smoking ad. Seeing her hit that was so cringe, it sent me out of my body, realizing I basically do the same thing. I might never smoke again after this. I do want to say, me personally, I want to say, you said might there. I'm going to focus in on that word. Come on, man. You got to believe in yourself. We can accomplish so much more than we think initially. It's just so small, but using words like, oh, I might quit, or I think I want to quit. Bro, you gotta commit to it. You gotta commit to it. That's all I'm saying. You can do it if you want. Anyways, next comment comes from at Taurus Us. Gotta say, I was not expecting the title of this thing to be literal. Same. To which at D2A Amons replied, yeah, same. I thought this was going to be Gen Z version of Death as a Salesman, ... with purple. Yeah, see, I guess it's it's funny how people from all around the world, we think similarly in things like this, where we're like, Death of a Unicorn is definitely going to be about something else, but no, it is about unicorn. At Producer X21 said, finally, the horror/comedy movie about a killer unicorn starring Paul Rudd that I've been asking for my entire life. Which I immediately think of Cabin in the Woods, because obviously we had this scene towards the end. If you haven't seen it, spoilers, but I mean, you should have seen it by now. It's one of the greatest horror movies of all time, in my opinion. And I just found out yesterday there was a Horror Nights house, and I'm so disappointed that I missed a Cabin in the Woods Horror Nights house in the past. I would have, I've been talking about Horror Nights a lot. I'm getting hyped for Horror Nights. It's coming up in August, I believe. So if you're a fan of Horror Nights, what house do you want to see this year? I mean, I love the Horror Nights. I'm not someone that gets scared, so I don't go to be scared, but I just love seeing the design, seeing the tribute to the media, and I just love it, man. It's a good time. But anyways, getting off topic there. Yeah, I couldn't believe they had a freaking Cabin in the Woods house. That's one of my dream houses that I would if I always ask people what Horror Nights house would you want from a movie, and mine would be The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. And then Cabin in the Woods would be up there too with that one. But anyway, at the end of Cabin in the Woods, there's a scene where a unicorn goes around killing people because it's one of the secret creatures that you can unlock to cause death in the movie. But at Eduardo31 says, been asking about this ever since Cabin in the Woods. See, that's just proof right there. Great minds think alike. At the Crafter6658 says, not everything A24 floats my boat, but man, they are one of the extremely few film companies doing anything different, and I love them for that. I agree. In this world where we are constantly pumped out with number 2, number 3, number 4, or just remakes of old stuff, I love original content. Sometimes it's not going to hit. I understand that. We obviously, movies are movies for a reason. Box office is box office for a reason. Masterpieces are masterpieces for a reason. We love what we love, but man, I would rather see an underrated film just destroy at the box office, like Late Night with the Devil or Everything Everywhere All at Once. These small underrated films, maybe not small, but these underrated films just destroy these movies that are coming out, like Oppenheimer, that are going to be good. I just like rooting for the underdog, is what I'm trying to say. And A24 has had a couple of those films that go in very underrated and just demolish, whether even if it's not from a critic standpoint, from me seeing the movie, pretend I'm gonna name out Swiss Army Man. That was a movie that I thought was extremely weird, and I was like, this is very weird, I don't understand it. But then it gets you going and trying to look up the meaning of stuff behind the movie and trying to get more in depth with it. And that's what I love about movies. I love leaving a movie and having more questions, lots and lots of questions, because it makes me go in and go home and try and dive in and research and try and learn more about the process and thoughts behind this movie. And it just creates a better experience for me, because not only am I living this experience at the movies, then I can get to come home and get more in depth with thoughts about it. So that's why I love A24. So I agree with you there, the Crafter 6658. To which at Brenda Create said Lamb went straight to the bin. Yeah, I have not seen that movie yet either, but it's apparently about a guy and a lamb, and I don't know. Apparently a weird movie. So that got me onto the topic of thinking, like, what other movies has A24 created or released? And this is just a list of the diversity that is A24. Ex Machina, which I heard is a great movie. I still have not seen that, but it's on my list. Everything Everywhere All at Once, one of my top 3 movies of all time. Hereditary, one of the best horror movies of all time. Uncut Gems, that movie gets my anxiety pumping because I used to be a gambler. The Witch, slow burn. Not a lot of people like that movie, but man, was that a fantastic film. Lamb, again, a weird movie that apparently just went straight to the bargain bin. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and Dix the Musical. So that's just the broad diversity that is A24. But that brings me to my question for you. If you found a unicorn and found out ingesting its horn was a cure for cancer, what would you do? What would you do? My first thought is, man, I don't know what I would have a moral dilemma because I would want to save millions of people's lives, but I'm not going to go and like try and make a profit out of that because I honestly think of the story of Niels Bohlin, who was the guy who perfected the 3-point seatbelt, and he created it for Volvo. And rather than like sell, like to patent the design and just keep it for just them and make everyone else like try and create new like ideas and stuff, or to create their version of it, they let it go for free so that everyone in the world could have this idea for the seatbelt, and it saved millions of lives. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's not powered by greed. It's not powered by money. It's powered by just loving your fellow human and wanting to see lives saved. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to kill an innocent creature for that either. I personally, oh man, this is a tough question. See, I'm dishing out hard questions I can't even answer myself. I personally would just leave it be. But if there was like a dead unicorn just somewhere and I've like found this out by like eating this horn, I would probably cut off the horn and then just go to a children's hospital where these like kids have cancer and just like disperse it there to them. I know from there then people are going to have much more questions, and then it's just going to become like a much overblown thing. But at least it would cause some good, right? At least it would cause some good. But I don't know. It just seems like, no matter what direction you go, it can be a bad story. Because if you don't do anything with the unicorn, then you're willingly knowing that people with cancer are just going to be dying anyways, and there's nothing you can do about it, which I guess is the struggle with life anyways. But it's just, oh man, that's a deep question. Getting way too deep into that question. But that brings us up to over under. Oh man, I am doing terrible. So I went into Novocaine with an 0-2 record. It was at a 7. Initially I said I wanted to go under, but I'm gonna not follow my gut or I'm not gonna listen to myself because I've been doing terribly. So I'm gonna go with the opposite. So I said over 7, and then I went and checked it today. It's a 6.9 with 5,000 votes. So I am 0-3 on the season. Oh my goodness. It's okay. This is going to be the win. I feel this one is going to be the win. I actually did some research. I'm going to get this win. We're going to be 1-3 after this one. So, spoiler alert, or not spoiler alert, just a little reminder for you. This record will come into play at the end of the season, so keep in mind for that. Keep a lookout for more information on that. But that's all I'm going to tell you for now. With that being said, so 0-3 on the season. Death of a Unicorn sits currently at a 5.3 out of 10 with 419 votes. Now, I went back and looked at some A24 ratings and A24 film ratings and whatnot, and there's not a single A24 film that is at least a 5.3 or lower. So, my researching like a gambler says that this is going to go over 5.3. I'm going to put it at a 5.6, 5.7. I'm going over on this one. I can't go 0-4, right? I can't. That's the gambler's fallacy, right? It can't hit red 4 times in a row, right? But I'm going over in this one. I think it's going to be a 5.6. I personally think that I'm going to like it a little bit more because I'm going in with the high expectations that like I love A24. I love what they do. I already appreciate them as a company. I'm going in hyped. So that's going to bring me to my final thoughts. I love A24 and I admire the weird films they produce. And this studio constantly steps outside the norm, and I appreciate that. I believe this is going to be a weird film with some over-the-top moments and maybe some WTF moments sprinkled in. And this seems like it's going to have a strong moral dilemma of exploiting an innocent creature for the good of mankind. I say that with air quotes because it's most likely because the good of mankind can include a nice payday. But that's just going to be the conflict, it seems like, in this movie, because we see them trying to hunt down the unicorns. They have guns, they have weaponry. And it just seems like that's going to cause the chaos of Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega trying to save the unicorns with everyone else trying to hunt them down. But that's all I got for this one. I'm pretty hyped about this one. I'm going to pre-rate it 7.2 out of 10. I'm going to watch it once it comes out. It's not coming out till March 28th, so we got about a week till it comes out. Got about a week. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this pregame. What are your thoughts on this movie? I know you can't like comments, but I'm gonna start opening up a Facebook page so we can discuss a little bit more, get some interactions going, get to see what y'all are talking about. See if you all want me to pregame in a movie coming up, because I know there's some good movies coming out this year, and I'm excited. I'm trying to get platinum on Cinemark, so I'm gonna go out to the movies a lot this year. But anyways, that's gonna be all for me today, and don't forget, hurry! The movie is starting. Thank you for listening. God bless and have a great day.